Hi, I'm Joe, and this is Intro to Mass Communication. Today we're talking about the dumbing of America. Question number one is, are Americans as a whole more or less smart than 50 years ago, and why do you think that?
I actually think we're a lot smarter than we used to be. I mean, there's obvious technologies that have been invented since 50 years ago, but if you choose to focus on the statistics like we watch reality TV all the time, I mean, of course, age groups 18 to 25 are going to watch reality TV. It's entertaining.
Well, do you think that people are more interested in watching reality shows because it's more real and they can sense that opposed to things that are being scripted?
I think so, too. I think so, yeah, that it's more interesting because it's unscripted, even though, that's debatable. But the thing is, I think we're smarter because there are more people in colleges, there are more people going back to college than there has ever been. Dropout rates in high schools are the lowest they've been since the 80s. Like, if you were to even go back 20 years, in the 80s it was drugs, sex, and rock and roll, and now it's just reality television and college. I think it's a winning combination.
Awesome. How is reading and literacy connected to this? Does anybody think that we're reading less books and watching more media or anything? Any comments on that?
Because technology has gotten us there where we can do other things besides reading books. There's a lot more choices today.
Not making them dumb, it's just giving you like a different resource than books. That's it.
How is technology related to this, to our society's intelligence? Do you think that technologies, I think we're pretty much more with technology is advancing?
I think with as far as technology is concerned, that with the advances in technology, we're not exactly having to retain as much information because a lot of the information is readily available via the internet or handheld devices and stuff like that. So we're not having to retain as much of it. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're less smart. It just means that our information is stored differently.
What does the future hold? Where do you think we're headed?
I think that we have like Wikipedia and Google now, and people with iPhones and computers, you can basically find out anything you want whenever you want. So if a little kid asks their parents, hey, where do babies come from, and their parents tell a lie or something like that, they're going to find out the truth on their own or by a friend so easily and so simple. So I think that parenting is going to be changed. I think there's a whole lot of changes that are going to be happening with that because of the amount of information we're able to find out right now.
It seems like the majority think that the technology and the advancement and things so easily able to get on the internet is actually helping opposed to making America dumber. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's helping in a sense to like I said, we can find out anything we want whenever we want, but at the same time that luxury there's no pressure for us to learn to learn as much stuff as we can or something like that, just because it's always we have access to it whenever we want. So I think that's it.
I think that a lot of with the technology and watching TV and internet and all that, it's not necessarily making people smarter or dumber, but it's making people more apathetic and kind of numb to realities, maybe a little jaded to where it's going to be less likely that there's any kind of protests or revolts against, any kind of thing going on with the government. If people don't agree with it, they're just going to kind of sit back and let it happen rather than taking action or doing something.
Absolutely. 50 years ago, does anybody else feel like that the people are talking 50 years ago, dumber or smarter? Does anybody feel like that it's kind of like the older generation versus the newer generation, saying that you should be reading and learning different foreign language instead of staying away from the technology and stuff that we got going on these days compared to 50 years ago?
Well, it kind of goes both ways, because in some ways they were smarter, like with the use of the land. They much more knew what was going to happen and how it was going to happen than now, and made their lives maybe a little more difficult in some ways, but more relaxing in others. But nowadays, we just kind of don't bother with anything like that unless it has a big processing plant to it.